So summer is here, and there is nothing better than a KHEM Studios board for making all sorts of things during summertime a little bit more fun for family, for friends, even for you. So one of the boards that I want to be talking about today, and I'm going to be trying this thing of going on and exploring YouTube Live with you, and that's to talk about, different foods, different things to think about when it comes to ideas for making the everyday kind of more fun. So this first board here, this is the Mega Monster, and the reason, and you're gonna see it keep moving across the screen, I always say this is our continuous serving surface. So this is a really long board, and what most people do is they put it down the center of their table or their counter island, but it's a great continuous surface for if you're lining up, for instance, a whole series of ingredients for a hamburger, or a whole series for a taco layup, or of course a dessert board. So there's lots of ways that this board can bring a lot of interest to the food that you're putting out, whether it's for a party or it's just a weekday night where it creates this sort of communal space that's really fun to play with. This board is actually, so I'm sure as you've noticed, we've got pretty unusual names for all of our boards, and that's partly just they each came about in their own different kind of evolution of design. And so the Mega Monster is actually born out of a smaller board that's called the Monster. But when we first made this, and this is 48 inches long, so to give you a sense of kind of the size of it, and we do have it also, so this is something that you can get on our website, and we do sell it in both American Black Walnut, Maple, and Cherry. And this is kind of a really nice board also because when it is not in use, we put these little leather straps on here, which make a great way that you can hang up the board on a hook. So when it's not in use, it's almost like this kind of sculptural element on the wall. So this Mega Monster is basically just a real statement piece, and it's a great board that you can bring out, whether it is on the everyday or if it's on the holidays, that you just want to have that kind of nice long serving surface. So again, this is our Mega Monster, and you can see why we called it Mega. So this is just one of the boards that I'm going to be talking about with some kind of ideas of stuff that you can put on it. So dessert board, hamburger layup, taco spread, and I'd love to hear your ideas too of what you would put on here. Of course, you can go with kind of a more traditional charcuterie, and that works as well. And so this is a board that I always like to say it really does feature the woods really nicely. So we use furniture grade hardwoods that are kiln dried, which means that they are put through a process that's the same as what when you're making furniture, you want wood that's stabilized, because you're building a piece that's an heirloom piece that will be last a really long time, and wood is such a natural material that it will expand and contract as the seasons. Sorry about that. I am outside. It is summertime, and so wood will contract. And so when you're making boards or you're making furniture, you want to be working with really kind of the best hardwoods that will last a really long time. So this is one long piece, and each board is really unique because it really each piece of wood has its own what are called grain figures, which is the design of the grain detail on the board. So whether this is American Black Walnut, but whether it is in hard maple or cherry, or also we do offer an ebonized ash, it really has its own natural beauty, and each piece is unique. But as you can see, we really take time to, the edges are, take a lot of time to sand these and to give them nice refined edges so that you know, this is a piece that whether you're doing something more formal or you're doing something more casual at the table or even on your center island, this is a great board for doing that. So this is our Mega Monster. Now, the next board that I want to talk about is our egg board. And this is a design that came about, I remember when I was growing up, there was a company Dansk, and they made these kind of oval-esque boards, but they were made out of teak. And so I remembered seeing those as a child. And so we have our egg board that's this nice, large serving size. You know, again, beautiful for putting on the center of the table, but it is also something that you can use on an everyday basis in the kitchen. The great thing about hardwoods is that they have a durability to them. So whether I'm laying out, you know, a variety of different fruits on here, or meats or cheeses, or I'll even put a roast on here, you have that ability with the hardwoods that these are boards that are really, they are the original, you know, cutting service in the kitchen. You hear a lot these days about plastics and different ways that you should be aware that, you know, these tools that we're using in the kitchen have plastics that are being transferred into our bodies. Well, with hardwood, you don't have to worry about that. And it's not bamboo, which can also contain a lot of different glues and things, which again, that's all transferring to you. So if you're working with an American hardwood, you really are providing one of the safest surfaces for your food prep. Now, people always ask me about care, right? Because our wooden homewares, the number one thing that you don't want to do is you do not want to put it in a dishwasher. So, for instance, with this board, what I do is that, you know, after I've served whatever it is that I want to serve on this, then you just bring it to the sink, warm water and soap, you wash it down, and then you take a towel, you dry it. And a lot of times it's best to actually put it against the backsplash or somewhere where it can kind of stand on end. And so that allows it to just dry and will prevent any warping or cupping or any of that. So that's as simple as it gets when it comes to care of these. And then, you know, whenever it starts to look a little bit dry or you just want to sort of bring it to its finest for some sort of event that you're putting on or something like that, it is a food safe oil that you can put on the board, and that'll help just with its longevity. You know, this can last a lifetime, and part of that is just the care. And the care is basically just noticing, okay, does it look a little dry? Does it look like it needs just a little bit of care? So the product that we use a lot on all of our boards is something called walrus oil, and no walruses are used in the making of this oil or wax, but it is a really great product for basically it is a really great product for oiling the boards, and for the when you apply the food safe wax, that helps to lock in the moisture that the oil has provided the board. So that's an important thing to consider as well. So and it can be it doesn't have to be walrus oil. You can go on Amazon, you can go to your local kitchen supply place, and they will have some sort of cutting board oil. So you just make sure that it's food safe. That's the most critical thing. The reason why we're putting this is not stained. So this is the real color. This is cherry. And so cherry is an amazing wood. It actually, from the minute it is cut and exposed to light, it starts to darken and become this deep reddish brown over time. And that is one of the characteristics that's very unique to cherry. So with this board, you know, it is only food safe oil and wax that has been applied to it. And it really does bring out that natural beauty of the wood. In general, if you're working with products, what do you not want on your cutting board, right? That's one question I get. You don't want lacquers, you don't want epoxy, you don't want resins. Again, because if you're cutting on it, you have the ability to be transferring that into something that you are consuming, which is not what you want. So these are all just food safe oil, food safe wax. So that's a great thing. So this egg board, which we also, so we have this on our website. You can get it in either American black walnut, hard maple, which I'll show you in a minute what hard maple looks like. And this is also available in the ebonized ash, which is sort of that blackened. That's primarily just for serving. But these are all just, you know, it's a nice, beautiful shape. And it allows you to kind of arrange food or arrange things in a way that, you know, is really beautiful for on the table. One of the other things is that we also do have this in a slightly smaller size. That is our small egg. And that is up on our website as well. And that is something, perhaps tomorrow I'll bring it on when I go live. You know, it goes up to about here. So it's a little bit smaller, which some people like, and it's certainly a nice complement to this size. So if you got the bundle of the egg board, you'd have this larger size and then a smaller size, and you know, that is a nice kind of complementary pairing for the table when you're entertaining or even in the kitchen. Again, just because it's pretty doesn't mean you can't use it on the everyday. So, and one of the things I get asked a lot is, you know, oh, you know, I buy this beautiful board, how do I keep it this way? And if you, there's a beautiful patina over time that happens as you use a board, and that, you know, brings it real character and memories for you and your family and everybody. But if you want to have, you know, one side that you keep in sort of prime shape, then what you can do is you can just make one side your cutting side, and then the other side is your, you know, your presentation side. So that's also something to consider. So I'm going to show you now one of our most popular boards, and this is very popular in terms of for gifting and for just, I think it's the unique shape. This is called our whalebone large, and it was designed, that's inspired by kind of the whale tail. And this is a board that, in specifically what we were thinking about was that concept of from the counter to the table, right? I'm working with something at the counter, I'm cutting, I'm getting things all kind of set to be going out on the table. So then the best way for this to be kind of, you know, ergonomically, for me to move from the counter to the table, it's this beautiful handle. And this really makes it so that, you know, whether you're going around and you're at a party and you're, you know, serving your guests different things, or you just bringing it to the table, it's really nice to have a nice handle. And that is certainly provided by this. So this is hard maple. So as you can see, it's that kind of Scandi, very blonde wood. It is a beautiful, it really allows the colors of the food to pop. So if you like putting your, you know, the pictures of the things you're sort of proud about putting together in the kitchen, and you're photographing it on this board, I always joke it's Instagram ready. So we do make this, again, in American black walnut, cherry, and ebonized ash. And that's all up on our website, which is KHEMstudios.com. And so this board, hard maple, so one question I frequently get as well, which wood is sort of the more durable, the harder? And with hardwoods, you have about the same hardness. What you have with hard maple is that and yes, there is a soft maple, and no, we don't use the soft maple for the cutting boards because it's soft. It's not pine soft, but it's softer than the hard maple. So with the hard maple, it is physically a little bit heavier. So for instance, when I'm going to ship something, I know that if it's made out of hard maple, it's probably going to be sometimes rounding up to a pound more in terms of weight. So that's also something to consider. But in this size, you know, it's not so very noticeable that you've got that huge weight difference. But in terms of durability and everything, the hardwoods will all serve you very well over a very long time. So again, this is our whalebone large. We do make it in a slightly smaller size, and that's, you know, I joke that that's like the Netflix board because it's the perfect amount of kind of cheese and crackers to put on something, put it by the couch or your comfy chair, and then you've got, you know, your little nibble plate. So this whalebone is it's a beautiful board, and when it's not in use, you can just put it up on that backsplash. Or again, it's got this leather strap, so that is great for, you know, if you want to hang it. When it's not in use, kind of can have a beautiful place on the wall as well. So next up, this is a board that's not up on the website yet, but I am going to get it up hopefully today, maybe tomorrow. But it's a limited edition for right now. But I think it is a great design because it is a great size, and you tell me. So this is it's part of the whalebone collection. We haven't given it its official name. It does have this unique handle, which is something that's part of a Nor collection that we've been making. Yes, Scandinavian inspired naming. But this is a really nice board size in terms of the depth of it for working on your average counter. You know, it's a nice depth. You can get a lot of cutting, but it's not so big that it's sort of encumbering you in your movements in the kitchen. So that's also something to consider. And basically, you know, again, you've got this handle, which really is that nice component for that ability to move from the counter to the table. And of course, the leather strap. So we have some boards that have that leather strap included and some do not, like our egg boards do not. But we do make a pegboard system as well. That's just a very simple, minimalist, beautiful design, and that's a nice accessory to go along with your KHEM Studios cutting board collection. So I hope this was helpful in terms of information. And again, all of these boards, and we have, I think, up to 40 different designs that are available on our website that are part of our cutting board collection. And I am always on the other side of a contact page, so if you have any questions or you need help with, let's say, holiday time with gifting or corporate gifting or anything like that, I'm happy to help. We do offer gifting services, so if you want something to be wrapped and with a little handwritten note, we do that as well. And that's something we offer year-round, but you know, it's most popular towards the end of the year when you have that holiday shopping happening. So I thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, I'm here.